Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Show Business. Apologies, as we're just going to be learning on the fly here. I come to you as always, but not quite like this, as Charles, otherwise known as Sipo. Joining us this week is Linzo.
Hello, I'm Linzo. That's my name-o. I'm here to talk about nonsenso. Let's go.
And lastly, Gray.
Hey, I'm Gray. Good to be here.
Woo!
I'm
Yes.
here.
Yay, being here. Okay, great. Hello, Dice. Thank you for being the guinea pig. This is the hideous logo above Lindsay's head, which it's a little too much, so we'll have to do this. So we haven't been around in a little bit. I'll do some slight cleanup because we didn't have a show for the extended July 4th weekend. So 2 weeks ago, July 5th through 7th, which doesn't count the July 4th holiday and the lead into that. Despicable Me 4 brought in 75 million. In second was Inside Out 2 with 30. A Quiet Place Day 1 with 20 million. Maxxxine premiered in fourth with 6.7, and Bad Boys Ride or Die stuck around to round out the top 5. This past weekend, which just ended yesterday, I believe, yes, Despicable Me maintained first with 44 million. Longlegs was in second with 22 million. Inside Out, first time in third with 20 million.
Mhm.
Quiet Place Day 1 at 11 million. And another newcomer, Fly Me to the Moon, with 9 million. So how
I have to do it really quietly. We can't get hit for copyright.
Yes, please do. How have any of you seen any of the old heavy hitters?
I saw
Despicable Me or anything?
Maxxxine.
Yeah, we can get to that. It came in fourth.
Yeah, it's a little struggle bus a little bit.
Actually, the fourth its opening weekend and eighth this past weekend pulled in $2 million. But yeah, it's been out for a couple of weeks now. I want to say it came out like right before July 4th, which the way they keep track of that weekend is really kind of confusing. But Lindsay, why don't you start with Maxxxine and how you felt about it?
I hated it. Worst movie I've ever seen. It was feminist propaganda. It was all it wanted to do was promote women and shit on. No, I really liked it. It was weird. It was very singular. I loved like so much about it. I'm not sure. Like, it's funny to me that it's a trilogy because I'm not sure how well it really works as a trilogy.
Mhm.
But I also love it for being its own weird thing in a franchise of like singular, odd, weird movies that are all sort of connected, but like the connections matter but don't matter. I think they matter more with this one than it did with Pearl and X. But I don't know, man. I love Mia Goth. I love Ty West. I love 80s dirty grime aesthetic in film, and this definitely did that very well. I love movies about like the weird dark sides of Hollywood. I love murder mysteries. This is a murder mystery. It wasn't really that scary, but every now and again it did kind of get me. And it was when they did like do kind of scary things, the gore was like kind of cheesy looking, which kind of, I don't know, was kind of fun. I really like this movie. I'm not saying it's like a great film, but I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it was a bit of an homage to like 80s grimy slashers and giallo movies. It
There are
definitely
scenes
had
in
like
this movie that I was like, God, I don't think I've seen something this grimy on camera since like this, like a literal movie from the 70s.
yeah, it had a lot of. I saw somebody mention what was it, Maniac, which is pretty close. I would say it looks something like Maniac.
I don't think I saw
Right?
it, but okay.
Have you seen Maxxxine?
I have not. I'd still like to. Sadly, I haven't seen any of those three films. I really need to, but yeah, I am probably losing cred for that. I need to make it a weekend, watch all three.
Oh, you haven't even seen X or Pearl?
Oh.
No, I don't know why. I just kind of stayed away from the whole series.
Ooh.
I've had it kind of explained to me, so I know what I'm in for. But yeah, I have not experienced it. So
You know what I would
definitely
love is to find someone who doesn't know these movies at all that know nothing about them and has never seen them, and then just kind of show them like over like a course of like maybe like a week or two, and just have them be like, wait, so it's like, wait, like see if they can kind of like figure it out, like kind of see like what that experience would be like for them. I don't know how you do that experiment, but I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. So your perspective, Gray, has kind of altered the way I'm going to handle this. But
No,
I would say,
sorry.
no, that's fine. It's fine. I'm going to try to tiptoe now. I would say, for as much as Lindsay brought up the connections, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, Lindsay, but
Oh, put everything you want in my mouth.
careful, nobody can see your face. I don't think, for as much as X and Pearl have like really like genuinely visual themes in them, I don't think Maxxxine connects to the other two quite as well. And it feels like, especially for the third act, I would say the third act, it kind of trails off. And if it was just the first two acts and something else in the third act, I'd be a lot more positive with Maxxxine. But like even using similar shots and having the X be a thing in the first two movies, you get the neon triple X logo sign in like the random stores and whatever, but it doesn't feel like doesn't feel like a joint process where one X and Pearl certainly have like this unified look and feel to it, even though they're all like grungy and strange in their own different ways. Actually, Pearl isn't really grungy and strange. It's like Wizard of Oz for
Very
horror.
technicolor.
Yeah. But there's just something that they share together that I don't think I don't think Maxxxine shares as much as the other two do with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And yes,
I mean, I do agree. Like, it's definitely the biggest departure of the three of them. But like, what's funny, like story, because like in terms of like filmmaking styles and stuff, it's the biggest departure. But I think like it's the one with, well, I mean, obviously X doesn't have any, but I think there's like stronger callbacks in Maxxxine to X than the other ones. But I guess that also kind of makes sense. Like, it's like a storytelling thing, like you're doing like generational things, but it's not. I mean, I guess it's not really generational because it's still Maxxxine in both X, Pearl. Sorry, it's the other thing. I always say the wrong names of them when I'm trying to talk about these three films. What am I trying to say? I don't necessarily know if it works great as a franchise, but I still love all three movies. I love their little connections. I love the running themes of overt sexuality, because like we just don't see that very much in movies these days. So it's kind of nice to see movies kind of really tackling that. I also think they just do kind of unique things, so like they are going to stand out going forward. I don't know. It's a fascinating trilogy. I really like it.
Yeah, something I liked about Maxxxine is they kind of touched on the power of sex in Hollywood while not feeling like something that was, had a message to it and wanted to beat it over your head. It was there, felt modern, but was cautious enough to be in the time period, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it was set in all of the movies. Like, sex is like important. Yeah. It's like there's like obviously like the first one's about making a porno, so there's obviously gonna be sex in there. But like there's the big character moments are tied into people having sex in Pearl. It's like a real like I want to say culmination, but that's also maybe a little more sexual than I want it to be. But there's what am I trying to say? Sorry, it's been a crazy weekend. I keep criticizing it for not being like the strongest trilogy while they're while still enjoying it as one. Like, what is it that defines a trilogy, I guess? Do they really need
Three?
to be that connected? Oh yeah, okay. It's a wise guy over here, like right. But I mean like a sequential story. I know I'm always the video game guy, but I'm assuming you guys have heard of Elden Ring. It was kind of been a big deal the last few years. That's by a studio. And all their games they share all the same mechanics, even if they're vastly different, and they're like pseudo in the same world while it's also kind of like implied they're not. It's interesting. Like they're all very separate and different, but they're all still connected. And that when they're in the fact that they're connected kind of makes them more interesting because you see the themes reflecting in each other, but in different ways. We're seeing, and that's kind of what we're seeing here with Pearl, X, and Maxxxine.
That's fair. It's a bit more pronounced in X and Pearl. You could tell that they shot those at the same time.
Yes,
there's a lot of overlap with some of the things that are presented on screen. I don't think. I mean, there might be a couple of things, but it wasn't so, I don't know, exaggerated and like in your face about, the symmetry and the rhyming of the movies within each other. It's fine. I just happen to really like X, and Pearl was something really unique and different.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that's neat is it's like a grungy, I don't know, it's almost like a grungy Dear John, not a love letter to Hollywood, but it's just so how that business can really take a lot out of people and the things that they want to do to succeed, and while also not really shining a light on just how bad things are.
Well, it's playing with like the ideas of fame, of being loved, about being in the spotlight, and feeling that admiration, and all the movies explore that kind of in their own way. X, it's about achieving that through porn. Pearl, it's about dreaming about being a dancer and being on Broadway and things like that, and much more antiquated than Maxxxine, where it's all about being whatever the equivalent of like a streamer star in the 80s is like, and that's the other thing that I think is fascinating about these movies, the fact that they're all set in the previous decades and they're about fame, they're about chasing that dream, they're about chasing that bag, while we live in an era where people are chasing that bag and chasing that fame and chasing that fortune and that public admiration from the comforts of their own home through the internet and webcams and stuff like that. I'm not calling us out right now, but I guess I am calling us out right now, kind of. Apologies, guys. We've been called out.
Wow.
Well, go ahead. You got the screen, buddy.
Oh, God, no. I think I'm running out of steam. Hey.
You use your time well. So yeah, Despicable Me 4 has just kind of been the top daddy.
How many Minions movies are there? 2? So there's 6 of these movies now?
Are there?
That's a lot, God.
It's a full-fledged franchise for sure.
It's weird. So between Inside Out 2 and Inside Out 2 and Despicable Me 4, it's been family movies at the top for a very long time now.
Yeah, there's a meme going around Twitter of SpongeBob ripping off his shirt and he's all jacked, and the message is animation carrying the 2024 box office.
That's awesome. So
kind of.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you don't factor in Dune.
I mean, Kung Fu, Dune was
Kung Fu Panda's. That's certainly a top level grosser. But what's somewhat comforting is the fact that Longlegs opened in second, and it brought in $22 million and managed to put Inside Out in third for the first time since it's been out. Have either of you seen Longlegs?
I literally just got back from it.
Okay, good. Okay,
hell yeah.
good.
Happened to watch it earlier this morning.
Nice.
We've both been kissed by Nicolas Cage today.
Gray, since we haven't heard from you recently, why don't you tell us how you felt about Longlegs?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, is that me?
No, it's great. The timing on that's amazing. No.
So a slight issue. Lindsay, take over.
Well, like I made a joke about a second ago, I think that's one of my final shots of a movie ever is Nicolas Cage saying "Hail Satan" and blowing a kiss. That was incredible.
Oh no.
Oh no, hey, you're back. What's up, Ray?
Apparently, I have no idea if it's bandwidth or what the hell just happened, but yeah, sorry about that. I thought it was a super stylized flick, and yeah, I really I dug what they were trying to do there. I have no idea if it's going to kick me out again or if I'm just going to freeze up, but yeah, maybe you should pass the torch. Yeah.
We got you. So, what'd you like? Well, while you're here, throw us what you got.
Fair enough. So I was not expecting Nicolas Cage's performance to be quite that route. We've seen him freak out in Cars before, but this was a pretty decent one. I don't know. I didn't think that it'd be so much kind of in the vein of like Silence of the Lambs, but wow, it really kind of feels like a spiritual successor to that, if you will. Just there's so much about this that kind of parallels in a fun way, but yeah, I would really be down to see this again. Kind of, I just left it thinking I think there's more that I missed in this, and I think this warrants more than one view, at least in my opinion. But I don't know. What can I say? It's right up my alley. I love Silence of the Lambs, and this is kind of a different take on the same type of phenomenon. So, yeah, if you like that, I'm pretty sure you'll love this. But we'll see.
Lindsay.
It's funny. I remember the exact moment when we realized that so the movie's about Micah Monroe's character, who is investigating a series of crimes that go back like 20 years. So it's an ongoing thing. And in one of the first scenes, we get a very quick shot of Nicolas Cage, and he's got a very white face. It's like almost like he just did like a powder puff, and just like makeup powder on his face. But then we find out that Micah Monroe's character is an FBI agent. I was instantly just like, oh god, Nicolas Cage is transsexual. This is 2024 Silence of the Lambs. But it definitely has the DNA of the movie in there, but it's also very much its own thing. I joked with Sipo about this offline. I've only seen Rosemary's Baby at 3 a.m, and I was drunk, but like parts of it felt like Rosemary's Baby, what I remember of it, meets Silence of the Lambs, and it's a weird, dark movie, man. Like the editing is so cool. They constantly switch from like the full screen down to a 4:3, almost like old school film style, to do like flashbacks and things like that. And it's really unnerving. Like we just talked about Maxxxine being this like dirty, grimy movie, and like this movie's got kind of that going on, but like in a different way. But it's also just like very visually striking. There's just so many shots. Oh, there goes Greg.
Yeah, just keep rolling through it. It seems like that's going to be a thing.
We're good. Like there's like just this shot of this red carpet with Micah Monroe on it, like going through all the evidence that I think is going to be just burned into my retina for a while. There's something about that shade of red that was insane. And I know it doesn't need to be said, Nicolas Cage did an incredible job in this movie, but Nicolas Cage did an incredible job in this movie. He has so little screen time, but like whatever you think Nicolas Cage is doing in this movie, where he's, is it a spoiler to say what he's the, I mean, it's heavily implied, right? Like,
well, go ahead. You be the one to break everyone's hearts.
Spoilers: Nicolas Cage is the killer. Whatever you think he's going to be doing, he is doing something else with this performance, and it is incredible. This is definitely a horror movie that should get nominated for stuff, but it's not in terms of acting. Like, I'm not saying it's it's up there with Hereditary, but he should at least get nominated for something. I'd say for this, it's freaking out there, man.
Yeah. So to kind of crush everything that Lindsay was talking about,
Crush me.
I agree. I agree that the cinematography and everything's very stylized, and it's quite a gorgeous film as far as the way it's presented is concerned. My issues with it are at times the very thing that Lindsay likes are things that manage to take me out of it at times. I felt like it was a very fine line to have Nicolas Cage do Nicolas Cage weird
Things.
things in this, and at times it's great. At times it just feels like too much, too far. And again, it fractures the tone of the movie for me, and I don't know if it's the only thing that kind of removed me from the way the third act plays out. But I remember thinking that there's this strong Zodiac type feel to it with the Code Zodiac meets Silence of the Lambs, and it turns out that
Zodiac of the Lambs. Zodiac of the Lambs.
it turns out that some of that stuff isn't as important as they lead you to believe, and I don't know what. I don't know if there's a couple of things that I'm like blaming something for something else, like a red herring or something, and it was neat. I appreciate it. I know I need to see it again, but at the same time, I was taken out of it at times, and it. The best thing I would say is a pinch of Zodiac, Silence of the Lambs, and a bit of the Black Phone.
Yes.
And it's a religious horror technically, right?
Oh yeah.
So I mean that's wild.
Yeah. I don't want to praise everything about it. I think I enjoyed it a little bit more than you, but
Copycat.
Nicolas Cage's makeup could definitely be better. It definitely comes off a little low budget, which
you think
supposedly this is pretty low budget. I don't know. It just he's got prosthetics and it ends up looking a little bit like a latex mask. Okay, it's broken again. Nope, excuse me. It paused on my side, so I thought I was out again. It comes off looking a little bit like a mask where, I think if they had a little bit more budget, it could have been a little bit smoother of an effect on his face. But still, if that's what I'm bitching at, there's not a lot that I'm complaining about. There's one transition that really sticks with me that's just like amazing. It's when she almost goes into like a trance, kind of falls asleep while investigating. Just all of a sudden it does this kind of transition to, I believe it's the other detective or the other FBI member walking in on her. But man, I want to see that again. There's just some really stylized stuff going on in this, and almost every scene is just like the right amount of dark. Every scene is moody in a great way. I don't know. I want to see it again. It's not a perfect film, but it's definitely something that I don't know. It draws you in for sure. It's not like one of those cheap, because I think.
Oh, poor bastard.
I will say one thing. I really liked how the movie communicated things without saying it, showing, not telling. Like very early in the movie, we see a license plate, and that's an Oregon license plate. I grew up in Oregon, and I'm like, oh, hey, we're in Oregon, cool.
You're easy to please, huh?
There's other examples too, like we're inside like the FBI director's office, and there's a picture of Clinton on the office.
There's trees in this office. We have trees. There's trees in this office.
I'm not talking. No.
I'm sorry.
No. I just like the way that it could communicate like where we are, when we are, with like there was a simplicity to it that I just appreciated. I just want to throw that out there while Gray was getting back with us.
There was. I mean, it's very the way the mise en scène is very
fancy word too,
like on purpose. I gotta
congrats on that.
Use those words. I paid a lot for them. I might as well use them. The things that are on the screen are very like deliberate, and the symmetry is like really, really incredible. And the wide angle lenses are like really wide, so much so that Micah Monroe looks kind of sick in this movie. Not sick.
I think a lot of it is the lighting. Like everything is extremely low lighting. So, but man, it doesn't look as low budget as it is, because like the reports are it's either 3 million or 10 million. So at least it's below 10 million. It comes off like it's actually cinematic, which is rare in that budget. It's worth a second look.
Yeah,
she's the queen of those like low budget movies that you think would be a lot more than they were. Like It Follows blew my mind when I learned that was like $1 million, $1.5 million maybe. Like
Another movie with wide angle lenses.
That's true. Yeah, but much better wide angle lenses, you might argue. But I wonder if the intention was to make her look a little sickly, just to kind of throw us off a little bit. Like, a lot of the movie felt like it kind of wanted us to not really ever be super relaxed. Like with the way some of the conversations were paced and things like that, it felt like the movie didn't want us to have that moment of kind of getting comfortable. Does that make sense? Like, because some horror movies will let you get comfortable to then take that comfort away from you. I never felt like this one wanted me to get that.
Yeah, there's a certain level of unease that this movie just maintains from start to finish, where there are certain things that you might be paying attention to that end up not being that big a deal, and some things where you're not even paying attention. And like the way they put things on screen every now and again, I forgot which one of you brought up Hereditary, but there's things about it that remind me of Hereditary, and like there's a couple of shot gags where they go back and forth, and you're just kind of like, wait, do I see something that I don't think I did? And it was neat. It's a nice way to just kind of knock you off what you're looking at.
I also like a horror movie that's willing to put something on screen not long enough for you to know that you saw it, but it was there. But was it? Was that a shadow? Is my head fucking with me? Like, I love that.
Yeah. I was upset that they kind of gave away the identity of Nicolas Cage in that like one quick shot where like you get this weird, like uncomfortable angle of somebody in a car, and like all you see is like hands, and like, what? And it's just somebody's torso, and then for like the end of that shot, he peeks down, and it's like a jump scare, and I was like, I could have done without that. I don't know if that's more a testament to modern horror audiences, like they need to have something to get them going, but
yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Like in the first like 3 minutes of the movie or something like that. Like they do like the cut to something and it's like ominous music, cut to something ominous music, cut to something ominous music, cut to scare. Yeah. Like I was like, oh come on, movie. I was really going there for a minute. You felt like you were above that, and then the rest of the movie was above that. Like it was cheap. They didn't need it.
Yeah. It's weird. It's a low budget film, but at the same time, it's above some of the methods it used. I felt like if this movie didn't use the tactics it did, I don't know if I would feel the same way about, because it's very style. Like I feel like the substance might be a backseat to the style, and if you take away some of the aspects of that style, how well is it going to be achieved in this movie? And
well, how good are Tarantino movies if you take out the Tarantino-ness of them?
I'd like to think they hold up, but
would they? Is Pulp Fiction still a good movie without Tarantino playing that character?
Oh, what?
Yes, you take him out of any of his movies, it might be better. But
it improves. I'm the one who dies.
So do you see like the Nicolas Cage casting as like stunt casting, or it's using a trick? Or
do you guys remember a movie called Pig from a few years ago?
Yeah,
that was also shot in Oregon. I was like, why is Nicolas Cage doing all these Oregon? Is he just living in Oregon now? Good for him. Like,
the tax rate is a lot lower there.
Well, there's no sales tax. People pump your gas for you. You know, there's benefits. Like
people pump your gas for you.
It's true.
Get a bicycle.
Nice.
Okay,
so that was Longlegs, which.
Oh, sorry. Was it stunt casting? I don't know. I would love to know that the conversation. Did someone approach Nicolas Cage, or was this like a script Cage has had for a while, and you're just like, I just need a director, man. I really want to play this part. Like, I want to know the history of that.
Well, it's neat, like the stories we heard about Sydney Sweeney and Immaculate. I think Nicolas Cage has kind of carved out a niche for himself in the indie horror scene. I'm like something that this is before things got like really, I don't want to say silly with him, but Mom and Dad.
He's always been a little silly with it.
He's been a little silly, but like Mom and Dad, I thought it like the tone of that was so right on. It was like so aggressive and
Mom and Dad. Which one was that? What was that?
Where it's like Dawn of the Dead, but it's like a disease that the parents have that they want to kill their children.
Oh, whoa. No, I didn't hear about this. This movie
Yeah,
sounds sick. I want to see this.
it's like it's fast paced. It's pretty
Okay.
wild.
With Nicolas Cage. This sounds amazing.
Yeah, I think Selma Blair is his wife in that movie. I think.
Even better.
Yeah, it's not paced the way Longlegs is.
Okay.
It's I don't know. It's got some high speed shit going on in there.
Okay.
But ever since then, it seems like I don't know if he's trying to undo the history that was Wicker Man, but he's certainly got something going.
Bees.
What if he does a second movie where he's running around in a bear suit and he punches a woman again? Like, what are the odds of that happening, you think?
I mean, the odds aren't zero, but I don't think they're high.
I'll take 2%.
So coming out this week is Twisters, which is a reboot. It's a sequel. I don't know what the heck.
It's an extended universe now.
Yeah. So some of us were lucky enough to see it already. I don't think Lindsay is one of those some of us, is it?
Me being lucky? Who do you think you're talking to over here?
All right. So I'll lead us off then.
Please.
Twisters is a movie that I feel like should be doing more if they're going to stick to the source material as much as they did. I think something like Twister was a product of its time, where in the 90s, there were all these disaster flicks where, things like Armageddon, all of these big blockbuster, Deep Impact, Volcano, the regular Twister. Dante's Peak. Thank you. Yes. Those, it was a product of its time where like these big scary action movies came out. And Twister is kind of a movie that still holds today, as far as I'm concerned. And the characters within it, Bill Paxton, love you. Awesome.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yes. I mean, Jack Black's in it as one of the people in the back cars.
I always forget he's in that movie. That's right.
Yeah. So it's got a lot of charm to it. But as far as remaking it for today, there's some things that are slightly updated. But I don't think this is strong enough a release to warrant people going out of their way to see it. If you're that hard up to see a tornado movie, go watch the first one. It's not much of a departure as far as I'm concerned, and it doesn't have the charm that Twister did, and no Van Halen either.
Oh, that's a crime.
Craig, what about you?
I think it has the right amount of Van Halen, which is none.
None.
Yeah, no, I have huge nostalgia in my heart for the first one. My nephew, literally would watch that every single day when I was, over to babysit him. I don't know. I've probably seen it 1,000 times. It is an amazing movie. It kind of holds a candle to it. If you like that one and you want to see something slightly new, yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's got some good actresses in it. It's good to see Maura Tierney in something again. But yeah, it doesn't have Helen Hunt. It doesn't have Bill Paxton. It doesn't seem to be quite the same thing. That being said, I enjoyed myself in it. I'm glad I got to see this special test screening of it. But yeah, it isn't quite the same. That being said, I think, some may really enjoy this version of it. I just watched this amazing, and I wish I could remember the channel off the top of my head, but they just did, I think it was yesterday, they put out this amazing video on the original Twister and kind of everything that went into the visual effects on that. I'd highly recommend checking out that one. It was pretty amazing. But just the detail that went into it. Sorry, it's From the Frame is the channel. If you have a chance, check that out. It's just amazing. They go through exactly what was needed to do CGI in 1996 on a movie like that, and it was just breaking so much ground. There are no blue screens, no green screens, no nothing. It's handheld cameras, so every single frame was basically rotoscoped, digital painted on to get this sort of twister effect. And on top of that, we've never really like recorded in high quality what a twister looked like, so they were kind of making it up. Just it seems like it broke so much ground. Where with this one, you think, okay, technology has really gone ahead and like progressed. There's going to be some amazing scenes, and I don't know. After watching the movie and then watching that kind of retelling of the visual effects from the first one, I really don't see it holding a candle in that way. You know, they use those effects for White Squall. True, but hey, there was an exploding semi, a tanker, if you will, in the first one. Paxton has to drive around it.
We got cows. We got cows.
Yeah, and they did an homage to that scene. There was a flying animal this time. No spoilers on what it is, but yeah, they do pay homage in a bunch of fun ways, but it feels like they're kind of pretending. That being said, it is entertaining. It's not the worst reboot quill out there.
Right. I agree. If it's something that you have interest in, you're not going to be harmed by watching it. Just don't expect the world. There are things about the new movie that I feel like don't compare to the original, for better or worse, considering it's 28 years since the 96 version. We haven't made that much of an advance as far as whatever we see on the screen, and the motivations of the characters are a little different. The Helen Hunt character, you can understand why somebody like her was affected and motivated the way she was, and it happens here. I mean, it's basically it's a prologue, but I don't have the same connection with the character from that as I felt we had with Helen Hunt. And there's a couple of like misdirections with some of the relationships of people, and motivation is a little different. But it just...
Are they going through a divorce? Is there a therapist there?
There's a relationship, but not in the same way as the first one. It's kind of more in the beginning phases than in the first one.
Yeah, it's a little different. And for as much as I say Cary Elwes is just rough, he's missed as a villain in this, which is
he's so good in that movie.
Saying something.
Yeah.
Everyone is so good at it. Jamie Gertz, like just everybody. And there's some cheesy dialogue in that first movie, but man, it also the dialogue that they're doing, like where they're fighting in the middle of a twister, like it's just, I don't know. It's peak cinema to me. That one is just, I don't know. Maybe it's nostalgic value, but I just love the original Twister.
So with that.
Oh, by the way, sorry. You said Jack Black was in the original Twister. Did you mean Mars Attacks? Because I don't think Jack Black was in Twister. I know he was in Mars Attacks. Are you thinking of Philip Seymour Hoffman's character?
No, isn't he in one of the cars with them? Isn't William H. Macy in it too? There's like a bunch of...
Was William H. Macy in that movie?
I could be wrong. I know there's a really cool drive-in scene where the drive-in screen starts to get torn away, and then the movie The Shining is being projected on debris. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, Jack Black being projected onto a tornado. It's freaking incredible. Not Jack Black, sorry.
Jack Torrance.
Yeah, Jack Torrance. Sorry,
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Torrance.
But I could be wrong. I don't remember him in there, but it's been a minute since I watched anything other than that screen being blown away.
He didn't have a prominent part. I think he was one of the like 1 or 2 line guys. It was 96. He was in Cable Guy that year too, and he had a line. So I could be wrong. I certainly could be. But
This wasn't too far removed from when he was the bad guy in Neverending Story 3. Do you guys remember Neverending Story 3?
No.
I do, sadly.
I loved that movie as a kid. I watched it as an adult. I was like, what the hell is wrong with me?
Yeah. That first one, though, man. Sorry, we're getting off Twister. I just wanted to go down that never-ending story thing. Just the saddest horse scene ever.
Oh, my God, right? Trauma.
Spoilers, guys, spoilers. So, Lindsay, as someone who's not familiar, and we've been under the iron claw of family films, do you think...
Also had Moon Attorney in it. Just saying. Iron Claw. It's a great movie. More Attorney. Twisters. More Attorney. There's the connection.
It's More Attorney Day here at Show Business. Do you think there's enough interest in something like Twisters to knock Despicable Me off its perch? Because next week, I would guarantee the number one movie is going to be Deadpool.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Not this week. 2 weeks.
Next week.
Why would you kind of... Oh, sorry, Lindsay. I didn't mean to talk off you. Please, give us your...
I'm just talking out loud. I forgot that. I didn't realize it was so soon. Yeah, that's definitely taking the number one slot.
2 weeks, yeah.
Go ahead.
I can't see running anything against it. Like, what stands a chance against Wolverine and Deadpool?
So essentially, we kind of all agree that Twisters needs to make its money this week.
Yes.
Will it do it? It will at least come in first?
I can't see that.
Well, me at
44.
What was it? This weekend was 44?
Yep. Cut it in half. It's like
22.
Yeah.
Twisters do 23 million.
Longlegs did 22.
Yeah, I didn't anticipate that, but if they can do 22, I'd like to think that Twisters has the nostalgia there because it's the 90s, so it'd be like, I don't know. I feel like there is still some nostalgia. I think they could get 20 million out of it, but I don't see it going big, especially against Deadpool and Wolverine. Like,
no.
Come on, that's like...
Deadpool and Wolverine is 2 weeks from now. Twisters is Friday.
Oh, nice. For some reason, I thought you were saying same weekend. I was like, I don't see it making anything. Like, I think you're just going to see the other one twice.
They're going to close that theater just to show more Deadpool.
Well, yeah. In that case, they got a shot, but I don't know. Do you think it's... I would think it's more of a draw than Longlegs, but man, like, would you take your family to a Twister movie or just one of the cartoon ones?
Well, here's the question. What are the legs for Longlegs going to be like? Is that going to be able to hold, or is that going to fall off a cliff?
I want to see it again, but I don't know if I'm the average person, but I would like to see it in theaters again.
I think because we're in certain circles, the horror universe gets a little louder with us than the real world. Like when Maxxxine opened to like 7 million, I was like, but everybody's talking about it. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah, right.
So we kind of have a little bit of a clouded thing with the horror stuff. Granted, I mean, Longlegs in 3 days made more than Maxxine's made up until now. So,
fuck, is that Nicolas Cage, or how'd that happen? Like, was there a trailer for
their
Longlegs?
marketing is incredible.
Okay.
Apparently, TikTok is a buzz with that hype.
Interesting. Oh, actually, something funny happened at the theater today that I haven't seen in a really long time. Some kids that were underage were in the theater, and I guess they got reported, and so management came in and kicked them out.
Wow.
They weren't even like disturbing anyone or being loud or anything. Like there was adults around them that were being bigger jackasses than the kids were. But
that's wild.
Yeah, no, I was like, oh, this is actually happening right now.
What movie was it?
Oh, Longlegs.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. I was pretty surprised at how packed the theater was on a Monday afternoon. I mean, it's LA and it's summer, so it's hot and air conditioning.
Air conditioning, yeah.
Still a Monday.
Okay, so Gray, with the information that it's Twister's weekend to win.
I think it's definitely going to win. I think it would push. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. I think Inside Out 2, it would definitely push it out of the way. I think Despicable Me 4 is still coming in tops, but we'll see.
I agree. I feel like if I've learned anything from the last 7 months, is that these family movies, they're no joke. And the other thing I've learned from 2024 is everything else, anything that you would think is a traditional winner, isn't really traditionally winning.
A Ryan Gosling movie about making movies? Oh, that's going to make so much money. Ooh.
But the weird thing was that was making a ton of money for not a ton of money, but relative to what it came out to.
It had
was
long
still making
legs.
money. It was still making decent money while you could watch it at home. So this has been such a weird year to like get a read of anything.
What's funny is because I remember like the last time we met, I think we said that Quiet Place Day One probably wasn't going to do very well, and then it ended up doing extremely well. So like with you guys both saying that Twisters isn't going to come in first, I kind of want to say it is going to come in first, just so I could be that opposite guy and somehow get ahead.
I forgot. We've been gone for 3 weeks now because the week before the July 4th weekend. Quiet Place 2 or Quiet Place Day 1 came in second that week.
Oh, sure.
Inside Out 2 or Despicable Me, one of the two front runners maintained and brought in 55 million, and Quiet Place Day 1 brought in 50 or 52. I don't have the numbers, but whatever we were talking about, I forgot.
Greg, you were within like 3 of it. You said if it gets 50, it might have a shot to knock out Inside Out 2. And you were so close. It was so close. You're within 3, and it could have knocked it out. So I'd say your accuracy is pretty good on this one. The other monkey wrench I want to throw in this thing, I don't know, Furiosa. Like, it does seem like that's 9 years, a little bit late for a sequel. Now we're talking 30. So I don't know. Is that gonna? I think the nostalgia market is there, but I don't know. I would have thought George Miller could do better than sadly that one did. So I'm not sure.
I still don't understand how Furiosa did that badly.
This is hard to gauge. It really is.
Just
because like I'm thinking of like 90s movies. If you did a sequel to Con Air, The Rock, Point Break, what
they did Point Break. Oh no, that was a reboot. No, the remake. Never mind. Okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. Like that.
It didn't do well.
That name recognition didn't get any attention.
No Swayze.
Yeah. No. How do you not have a Keanu cameo? Like how do you not get the Keanu mood? I don't know.
Well, to be fair, Twisters doesn't have any of the previous people either. So just Dorothy, just the stupid yellow containers with the little balls inside.
Watch this like a random shot in the movie of they're like, oh hey, and there's Helen Hunt. They say Helen Hunt's character name. No, there's Helen Hunt. Like, fuck off! I said I'm not going to be in the movie.
Feels like we could have gotten someone, like even like a Jamie Gertz, but no, nothing.
Yeah, they completely rinsed everything about the again, everything except the Dorothy machines, which there was enough of an intrigue in the original movie where I feel like some of the aspects of Twisters, it doesn't have the same heart, oddly enough.
Well, you know why that is. You know why this movie was made, right? The director walked into a meeting room, wrote Twister on whiteboard, then added an S, and then turned the S into a dollar sign.
Is it that easy? Because
it's a James Cameron joke, actually, when he was trying to get Aliens greenlit. That's the legend who knows, but that's supposedly the story. Like,
yeah,
I mean, worth it.
Yeah. Definitely Aliens was, yeah. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It sounds so strange. 22 million. It should be enough. Right. But
yeah,
I don't know if it can do that. And it can make 75 million. I'd be like, oh, okay. But I don't know if there's that kind of a. I just don't hear anything about it.
Yeah. That's kind of how I felt about Bad Boys, though, and then that did really well.
Yes, that's fair. It did
Fair
really
enough.
well. Yeah.
Really well.
I
Like, I
hope
think I
it
saw-
does well, but I can't see it having the draw with it being like 30 years ago. Maybe I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
I'm
The
thinking
only
20.
that may be enough for first. I think the only thing that like gives it an edge, so to speak, is both Despicable Me and Inside Out have been out for a very long time.
That's true.
Um, if ever there's a time to take your family to see tornado porn, then this might be it. But the other thing is we've had silly movies like Sharknado and things like that where, you know, twisters and tornadoes aren't exactly that far in the past for people who are into that. And I just don't think the ooh and ah and the wow factor that was prevalent in the 90s is there enough.
Mm.
I'm going to make this conversation worse for all of us.
Uh-oh.
How much money do you think the first Twister opened to?
That's
It was
different.
record breaking.
That is different.
I remember,
I'm looking at it right now.
yeah, it was like the biggest weekend, and I think it was like a mid-May, or I can't remember exactly what the opening was, but
May 10th. to May
huge.
12th.
Yeah, so it's huge. Charles, you're the box office guy. Make me not look dumb here.
I didn't do my homework, but yeah, you have to remember that time, all of these big budget disaster movies, like I think Independence Day came out that year too, and that was a big deal. I'm gonna say like 120 million.
Okay. Well,
I'm gonna go like half that. Let's go 60 mil.
41 actually.
Oh, you
guys,
jerk!
Okay.
you guys both went like way over.
Well, I'm going off of your
Okay,
facial
but
expressions.
have you adjusted for $2024? Because come
That's
on,
true.
man.
That's true. But what came in second place that weekend pulled in just under 4 million. And what came in first place the previous weekend was The Craft with just shy of 7. So 41 million is like definitely a bit of an anomaly. Like that's way above. Oh, actually, here, let me look at the following weekend. So that was for the 17th to the 19th. Holy crap! Okay, it stayed in first place with 37 million.
Dude, old school movies, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had some legs.
Yeah. What do you have for Independence Day? What its first weekend?
Well, give me a minute for that. Sorry, I'm just looking at all this. I just had in its third week, it pulled 30 million, but Mission Impossible, the first one, pulled 45, so it won. But the first Twister did
Still,
very, very well. Yeah.
Within 3 weeks, that's over 100 mil. That's not bad.
And Titanic was 97. That was December of 97. And that was in first for a very long time.
Yeah.
So
a year.
Judging the movies in the 90s isn't as
That's true.
as easy as it would be now.
Whoa.
Like, what?
Sorry. Okay, I need to stop reacting. How well do you guys think Independence Day did? Oh no, sorry. This is daily. This is daily. Let me look at weekend. Okay, that's going to change it. Yeah, that did change it. Okay, how do you think Independence Day did opening weekend?
Well, if you're saying 40 for Twister, I'm gonna say 80.
Great.
It's got to be under 97 from Charles's helpful hint there. So I'm gonna go. You went 80. I'm going to go 81. Let's price is right this.
Price is right rules. Okay. You're both wrong. It was 50. But, that's still pretty good.
It's better than Twister did. Yeah.
By 6 million more. It didn't beat it by that much. Like,
yeah. Rod, you went over 2. Nice guess, but
60. He was closer than you guys were. Good job, Rod. I'm firing both of them, and you're on the show now. Here, get your webcam. Go. Let's go.
Want your availability?
I just had to assume the summer movie would have been way more than the May or mid-May release, but not that much. I don't know.
Especially because Independence Day is such a legendary movie.
I remember it being a very big deal. So the money numbers don't quite match. I mean, because we were talking about Ghostbusters earlier in the year, and opening weekend on the original was like 12 million.
That's a very good question, actually.
And it just had really, really long legs, but it didn't.
That was a grower. It wasn't so much that first week.
No, not Frozen Empire, you stupid.
Okay.
Ghostbusters 1.
So again, Twisters is coming out this Friday. If you're not in America, not in North America, excuse me, it may be at your theaters right now. A lot of the worldwide releases were the 11th for Twisters.
Oh, wow. Wait, sorry. What's happening? Oh,
so,
banners.
Sorry, I might have said that louder than I meant. Ghostbusters opened to 13, and then it made 15 in its second weekend, and then it made 13 in its third weekend.
Yeah, a lot more steady and a lot lower as far as the numbers are concerned. So to kind of transition, we're going to talk about the big shows that will close out this week. There's 2 big episodes, 8 tomorrow and the day after. We've recorded this on Monday if you're watching it later. But first, I wanted to discuss something that we just meant to discuss last time. And it is Emma Roberts, who recently was in Space Cadet, which is a straight to VOD movie about a ditz who is an astronaut. And she was interviewed then about the response to Madam Web, which also came out this year. And to Variety magazine, she said, if it wasn't for internet culture and everything being made into a joke, I think the reception would have been different. Things work, things don't work. Everyone likes to act like they can predict if they're going to work or they're not. Yet the truth is you can't. Things do badly and then they blow up on TikTok. I have notes.
So what does she even mean by that? Like, yes, if society wasn't the way that society is, the reception of it would have been different. But I don't know. It's like if humor didn't exist, people wouldn't be making fun of this.
Yeah, she's making it, from what I'm interpreting, she's making it seem like, online mockery culture is too much of a big deal. And people don't know if something's going to do poorly, which I would like her to see Sydney Sweeney's statements on Madam Web and tell me that everybody in there didn't know it was going to be bad, because Dakota Johnson, she kind of sleepwalked through that whole process. And then,
I think a good portion of them didn't even participate in like any sort of promotion for it. Like, I don't think I saw Adam Scott in anything. I mean, maybe it was a giveaway as to what character he's playing, but still.
Yeah, there's that, and the things do badly and then they blow up on TikTok. Is that good? Like, if your 90-minute movie is blowing up on the 90-second app, wouldn't that be bad?
It was kind of good for Morbius or whatever, right? Like, it gave them a second release,
No, we were all busy that weekend. We'll come back and release it again.
Do it again.
Do you, Lindsay?
Hmm?
This is
I still haven't seen Madam Web, but yes, go ahead.
Do you believe that everybody knows? Oh, excuse me. Do you believe that everybody who's making a project, they don't know whether or not something's going to be good? You were a non-speaking role on a show that I've mocked you for. Did you think that was going to be a good show when you made it?
Nah. I just had a feeling watching them shoot other scenes. It didn't seem very funny. But I still gave it my all.
Troy, if you were part of a shitty movie and word of mouth spread, it just spreads quicker nowadays. I would agree with that.
I mean, but like sometimes it's hard to tell. Like, sorry,
Sure.
I cut you off. But like, I'm trying to think what was that movie that was a few years ago? that the cast was like super super hyped on, and then it came out and it was just terrible.
Was it any of the Star Wars?
It could be so many.
Yeah, I know there was one specific one. Everyone just seems to be so much fun on set, and then it was just an
It's a Zack
absolute
Snyder
train
film?
wreck. I can't remember, but it happens though. Like, you know, like when you're on set, when you're having fun with people and you're kind of enjoying what you're doing, and everyone's laughing, and there's like a good energy, and like then you're seeing the dailies, and like the dailies look really good, and like you see like an early cut, like the early cut seems good. It can be hard to tell sometimes, especially when it's, you know, your movie. But I feel like there's also a breaking point where it's like you suddenly realize, oh, none of this is worth. But you know where that is and when that happens probably depends on the movie. Like, have you guys ever heard the story about John Cryer, who was in Superman 4? He bumped into Christopher Reeve like a few months after they stopped shooting, and they're like, "Hey, yeah, let's get lunch." And the two of them went and got lunch, and John Cryer is like, "Oh, I'm so excited for the movie," and then like Christopher Reeve had to kind of sit there and be like, "Look, man, it's not going to be good." like what was Christopher Reeve like that the entire time? Like, what was the moment for Christopher Reeve? I always wondered in that story that made him realize, like, yeah, no, this one's just not going to be as good as the other ones.
I think it would be the fact that he was in the other ones. You know, he kind of knew
that's true. Yeah, okay, yeah.
how it should be going.
Right.
So I definitely don't have like that same type of experience or anything like that, but I can tell you like every album that I've made or been a part of, like while I'm in the middle of it, it's like, yeah, this is great. And then, you know, I'm not proud of any work that I've ever done. So, yeah, I don't know, things change. You do get in like this tunnel vision where it's like, no, this is great. This is perfect. And, yeah, it's not necessarily. Yeah, I think you could definitely dilute yourself into that, but it's just weird because it doesn't seem like everybody else had that experience on this amazing film that we all took for granted.
Yeah, I when I speak to other entertainers, I call it the California factor, where, with all due respect, Lindsay, a lot of people in the entertainment industry in California are a little too, I don't want to say naive. They're just a little too nice for the sake of, you know, not stepping on toes. And I think that's a really, it's dangerous for the sake of making a quality product. If you want to succeed, you really need to be honest with yourselves. And I think New York, as far as comedy is concerned, New York is a bit more honest than California. And California, it seems like, I mean, I spoke to so many comics who were doing stand-up because they were really trying to act, or they're doing stand-up because they're a singer. And it's just like, we don't have that in New York. You don't have stand-ups who are, you know, just doing it just because. In California, you have that a lot, where people are doing a thing to get to their ultimate goal. And because there's this, like, everybody wants the same thing. I mean, it could be competitive, but I just think there's a little bit more of a phony nature with some of the way people.
I get what you mean. It's because you always want more work.
Sure.
You don't want whatever project you're currently working on to be the last one that you're working on, because, you know, you said something, the lighting on this one scene wasn't great. You know, you don't want to. I'm not saying that, but, you know, just like that would be a super petty director to completely blacklist your career over that. But you're not wrong though. It's not really conducive to, you know, a quality environment. Like, George Lucas is a legend. Dude changed filmmaking, but he did not make Star Wars alone. And in fact, his cut of Star Wars is, you know, been widely described as unwatchable. And it was only when his wife Marcia Lucas came in and made the cut that we know of for the original Star Wars that Star Wars happened. You know, who knows what unwatchable means? I've read and seen a lot of things on, like, apparently the Death Star battle was way longer. Luke didn't do one trench run and get it. He did 3 with 2 failed ones, and then he finally got it on his 3rd one. It's just like, just sounds unbearably long, but dude, who knows? You know, you need like people like to say like the auteur theory. Like this is part of the reason like I did the Christopher Nolan bugs me so much, because like, you know, Christopher Nolan's not the only person making his movies. There's entire teams of people with him, and what happens if those teams aren't as good as they were? You know, they'll you know, his movies will be weaker. It's kind of how it goes. Again, Nolan's made great movies too. I'm just not.
It's weird because the way that Amazon's kind of screwed over Doug Liman.
Oh, what happened there? I love Doug Liman. He's like one of my favorite. Like, man. Oh, that's right.
Apparently, he thought Roadhouse was going to theaters, and
fuck Brian then.
I think it would have been fun in theaters, but I have no idea what it would have done this year. Like again, that's a sequel, a prequel, whatever. For I don't know, but yeah, I would have liked to see that one in theaters. I enjoyed it for what it was, but you know, it's a Prime movie. I think kind of like Space Cadet that you were just talking about. Like, I don't know if you hold that up to the same standard as, you know, going to the actual cinema. You know, it's just a Prime movie.
Yeah, I can understand maybe making something like, because Space Cadet, if you're making something like that, you perhaps could think that it's stronger than it really is, because it's glossy, it's pretty. I mean, they have like these awesome shots when they're doing like the space tests and thing, and the flying and all that stuff. But it seemed like everybody kind of understood that Madame Web was going to be a failure.
Not everyone apparently.
What the moment was though, like what was like when did Dakota Johnson realize, oh, this is not worth my time? Like,
and action.
Yeah, exactly. Because I love Dakota Johnson. I haven't seen the movie, but I have seen that one scene where she's like running up to save someone in a car. And again, I adore Dakota Johnson. It does not look like she's running to save someone's life. It looks like she's Dakota Johnson running to catch up to her dog, who's gotten a couple of steps ahead of her. Like, she's not running with urgency. She's got like a little flightiness to her as she's running. And I know I'm being overly critical of a single shot of a movie I haven't seen, but like every time I would see that trailer, I'd just be like, that looks weird.
So name your
she
price.
She knew what was going to happen, so she knew
that's true.
at speed at which she should have run. So
I take it back.
It all makes sense in the movie.
No, 100%. No, you're wrong. I take it back. Dakota Johnson is God. All bow before her. I will never say anything wrong about her again, ever. Remember movie I watched the other day, though? Good Times or Bad Times? I always forget what it's called. At the El Royale.
Oh.
I like that one. And I don't know why I like that one, but I like that one a lot.
It's so
wild.
Fun, though. Yeah. It's like, I don't know what's happening, but I adore it.
What about the second half of her statement that movies blow up on TikTok now? Is that what we're trying to do with movies now?
Well, I mean, apparently Longlegs.
It's weird.
The other way around.
It's kind of it's kind of a second life for some of these films in a weird way. Like, you know, we don't have physical media anymore, and they're streaming, but I don't know. Are any of the numbers accurate on what they report on streaming, where you can literally see the views on TikTok? I'm not saying that they're accurate, but you know, there's some transparency where I have no clue, like, if something is popular.
Yeah.
To switch subjects yet again, like, I've seen two different articles. One saying like The Acolyte is the worst rated thing and the worst viewed, and then I've heard that it's like second only to Obi-Wan. So I have no clue like what the actual streaming data is. Nielsen data came out, and it looks like it's not as good as that one article said, but I don't know. It's kind of cool that there's a second life,
and then like fell off. What was it like the first two episodes did really strong, and then everything else kind of maybe
we'll get to that.
That's not what the Nielsen is saying. Okay. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to change that, but right. I don't know. It is something that you can actually like look at some measured things, like this many views on TikTok, and of course, yeah, people are buying views and stuff, but I think you can tell what's popular on there. I don't think they're popular just from that, but I don't know how you could watch a movie in like that way.
Right.
Just, man.
I mean, wait, people load whole movies to TikTok and then they watch it on TikTok? I thought you were just talking about like people making fun of it or like, you know, recreating scenes or something like that. No, like, oh my God.
It's like the whole thing. Yeah, it's pretty weird. I don't know why the kids are doing it, but yeah, when I was hanging out with my niece and nephew, that's pretty much all they're doing. It's really strange.
So they watch 1 minute of the movie 100 and like
At a
what,
time.
40 times. Or
Yeah.
something like that. Jesus. Hey, whatever makes the kids happy, man. I'm not judging.
But like, isn't that? It just defeats the purpose of having a movie, doesn't it? Like, why wait for 40 separate, 90-second pieces to watch like that?
What? So there's this thing on YouTube,
Good question.
I'm sure you guys have seen your version, like like random clips from movies and stuff like that. And it's really big, but then like they like edit them randomly in order to like avoid copyright claims or something like that. Like they jump in the scenes. Have you seen that? Like anime clips or like that. Like it's the worst.
Yeah.
Like it's,
I have watched a few of those too, and it's like, why? Why am I watching this?
right? Like you're not going to make money off this. Why are you butchering the edit so badly? Like, but that's not the point. But like there's something fun about going on. Like, hey, that's that fight scene in that one movie. I want to watch that again, real clip. YouTube, give me that clip. That's really fun. But an entire movie is like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why would an actor in their late 20s, early 30s be talking about the benefit of TikTok? Because I listen, I don't know what type of money they make. I mean, Anya Taylor-Joy's a big deal on Instagram.
Mhm.
So, she probably, well, first of all, she's in slightly better performing films, and I guess she has a fallback with Instagram or whatever. So,
Well, she has the fallback of being Anya Taylor-Joy. She's going to be okay. Whatever ends up happening. She could have 5 Furiosa. She'll probably still have a career.
and again, Sydney Sweeney also was in Madam Web and was really prepared to hit the road running with her next film that she produced. I just think maybe Emma Roberts isn't as, I don't want to say smart, but Sydney Sweeney appears to be very intelligent with how she's working herself as a business person. And Emma Roberts, with her statements, don't appear to be as aware of things that are going on around.
What was Emma Roberts' part in the movie? Was she another Spider Woman or something like that? Or
She was one of the spiders.
She was one of the other ones, the three, that
one of the non webs.
teenagers.
Oh. Wait, and what was it? Wait, was Emma Roberts in Maxxxine, or who was that was in Maxxxine? Was that? No, that was Lily Collins. That's who it is. Or the from the previous movie, Maxine Minx is coming in for the second one for the movie Within the World. The actress in the first movie.
Yeah, careful with that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, no, Lily Collins is in the credits, but
Lily Collins, that's what it was. Okay, yeah. So okay, that was something. I was like, wait, it was one of those two. Which one is Emma Roberts? What else has she been in? Was she that one in that weird Truth or Dare app movie?
She was in Scream 4.
Oh yeah, this chick. Okay,
You're muted, Gray.
I was saying, yeah, she was. Yeah, I really didn't have much to add to it, but I was like, I've seen her in something, and then you mentioned that, and it's like, yeah, she was. So,
yeah,
she was in The Hunt. That's right. That was
I was just going to name that. Yeah.
That was a great movie. That was a great little part for her too, because it's like, oh, she's going to be the lead. Oh, and she's dead. Spoilers.
Great gore too.
Yeah. Oh, I love that movie so much.
Mm-hmm.
You guys remember this is a little tangent back in the early days of the internet, Homestar Runner? Does that ring a bell? Anyone?
Yeah.
Know that? One of the guys that created Homestar Runner made The Hunt, which I adore. It's so great.
I did not realize that.
Oh yeah, I think he just wrote The Hunt or something like that, but still, just like that's incredible. I love that.
Rod, you're talking about Emma Stone.
Oh, I mean, Emma Stone's great too.
Sure, she's working quite a bit. Anything that Yorgos Lanthimos makes, you could expect Emma Stone in it.
Now, I mean, The Lobster was sandstone.
Yeah,
but
The Favorite, Poor Things, and what is it? What's the new one called?
Kinds of Kindness.
Yes, Kinds of Kindness.
La La Land.
That wasn't Yorgos.
It's one of his sappier ones.
Okay, so to the slight shift that we alluded to.
All right, yeah.
So this week on your various streaming networks, The Boys and Acolyte both wrap up their seasons with their 8th episodes on Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively. So I'll ask you guys before I throw the numbers up. Now, these numbers I have here are the IMDb rating. So
More familiar with Rotten Tomatoes, but I can't think this would be a ton off of there. But fair enough.
So I'll start with the Acolyte. No, I'll start with The Boys.
Ooh.
Season 4. What do you think the ratings will be?
I know we had significant drop off, or at least there's a lot of people saying that they're not watching it now. Now they've tuned out. But I'd have to think that there's some diehards. I think season 3 went pretty hard. So
these are just rating scores, not number of viewers.
Yeah, I'm thinking ratings. So are we going out of a 10 scale?
IMDb's out of 10. Yes.
I'm thinking it's like a 7, 7.2, somewhere around there.
Linzo.
7.3. No.
Price is right at me.
I'm gonna say it's like a probably based off what I've seen online. I'm gonna think it's like a 6.
Okay, so our scores are here at the bottom. Episode 1, 7.5. Episode 2, 7.2. 3, 7.6. 4, 9.0.
I was
5,
nice.
8.3. 6, 7.6. 7, 8.5. So
which one was episode 4? What happened that episode?
I don't know, something incredible.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, it was 2 ago, so it wasn't Huey and Tech Knight. It would have been the one before that. Now I'm blanking on it.
When he died, when his dad died. Spoilers.
Oh, yes, Simon Pegg's. Yeah. That one was a pretty decent one. The great Pegg performance.
So, Gray, you know this. I mean, I think we've skated over it at a time or another. What was the big episode that the internet lost their shit about The Boys?
So it would have been episode 6. So it would have been that one that's 7.6 out of the user rating. Okay. And I think it was just another way to kind of attack the show. Just it's deeply political, and then they're not taking the same care with essay this season as they did the first season, and that's because this time it's towards a male character. I don't know. I got to be honest. It is shown a little bit more comically, but it's not the same type of deal. He's not necessarily doing it for a job position or whatever. Like, it's not the same type of pressured, like, Me Too situation. The character kind of puts themselves in a willing scenario and just doesn't know the safe word, which is comedic in effect, especially when you find out what the word is.
Oh, what was it again? I forgot. It was
Zendaya.
Zendaya, that's right.
And Troy would have guessed 6.5. So everybody undercut.
That just proves that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, I don't think the core audience is super affected with this. I don't think there is anyone who's followed them through 3 seasons and is like, no, this is where I tap out. So I think it is just that kind of internet outrage thing. But I'm glad to see that the scores actually somewhat reflect that, because, I can't see a drop down in quality where I'm wondering what the Acolyte's going to be like per episode. But
so
we'll see.
Your check is in the mail, sir. Nice lead-in. The Acolyte doesn't have 3 previous seasons to speak of. So we'll work back to you, Gray. What do you think the scores? Because you both said 7 and a little bit lower than 7, and most of the episodes were pretty much above those scores. What do you think about the Acolyte? What do you think IMDb will have for the Acolyte?
I don't think it's going to be kind to it. I know Rotten Tomatoes was definitely not kind to it. There is kind of a controversy of whether or not there was review bombing. It kind of goes back and forth whether or not there was. You can definitely find a video that confirms either there was or there wasn't. But I don't know as much about the IMDb rating on this. I can't think it's going to be super high. There are a lot of criticisms about a lot going on in this series. When you hinge it on kind of like the Rashomon effect, where you're showing an incident from multiple points of view, that payoff has to be huge. And yeah, I don't know if this is the medium to do that in. Again, I think we went over this last time, but I just think a movie
just roll
would be
that
so
red
much better
carpet out.
because you're stuck like right there, and you've got to sit there in your seat until this reveal happens, where so many people could drop off, and there's so many things that they sacrificed for that payoff. So I can't think any of these would be high, and especially if anyone waited till last episode to kind of then go back and retroactively rate all of these. Yeah, I'm thinking none of them really top 4, but perhaps I'm wrong.
Okay. I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to say 8.5 average. Oh yeah, I lost. I went low last time and I lost. I'm going high this time, so I'm going to lose this way too. So let's go 8.5 average.
One of you is wrong, drastically so.
Just, sorry, Gray. Sorry, Gray.
So
you got me.
Again, per episode. Again, both shows are entering their finale this week. Episode 8 for both shows is the finale. The Acolyte ratings per episode. Episode 1, 5.3. 2, 5.1. 3, 3.6. 4, 4.8.
I can see that.
5 is 6.6. Episode 6 is 5.0, and 7 is 4.4.
So, like I said, 4.5 average. Yeah. So, sorry, Gray, but like,
that'll be somewhere in the 4s. That actually surprises me because almost everybody is saying episode 7 is the worst episode ever. These ratings aren't really reflecting that, and that's actually not my experience with it either. I think the payoff sucks, but there's a lot of things that were kind of done well in that last episode. I think I would put 3 as my lowest one, the power of many. But
yeah. So the 2 lowest scores I'll give you the parallel to those is the big witches episodes.
I don't know, man. The internet needs to handle a little cringe every now and again. Come on, guys. If we're not willing to let people get like weird and like midsummery in our Star Wars, I almost said Star Trek. Like, what are we even doing here? Come on. I want cults. I want weird chants. I want the power of the who's a what's it's. Like, everyone's taking. Have a little fun, guys. Come on.
So the interesting
episode 4 isn't that much above 7. It's only 4.8 and compared to 4.4. So I don't know.
I'm kind of surprised 5 is only at 6.6.
I was just going to say, so 5 and 6, I mean, 5 being at 6.6, it might as well be a 15, judging by the rest of these episodes. What is 5 the fight episode?
Yeah.
5 is the big showdown.
5 is the headbutting lightsabers.
Reveal. Yes.
Which I love.
Cortez's headbutt.
I adored that. The first time it happened, I was like, what did I just see? That was sick. And then they kept doing it, and it was like, oh, this is amazing.
It doesn't seem like the best strategy, but it looks cool.
Definitely not. Yeah. Just make me giddy and smile. That's all I want,
So, Lindsay, do you think these scores are fair?
No. I mean, like, is the show good? No. Is it the worst thing ever? No. It's not even the worst Star Wars show. Like, because the Boba Fett is worse than this. Boba Fett is so bad they had to stop being a Boba Fett show for 2 episodes and go be a Mandalorian episodes for 2. This has at least been the Acolyte for all 7 episodes so far, and I'm assuming episode 8 is going to be the Acolyte. Now, if episode 8 is Mandalorian again, I'll take everything I'm saying back right now. But it it's not that bad, guys. Is it great? No, but. Like there's a reason why I'm not caught up with it. I think it's got some pretty serious pacing issues. Like you put me in the editing booth. I'm not saying it would have been better, but I guarantee you I could have had episode 5 be episode 4, maybe episode 3, barely lose anything. Losing very little. I would have morphed episode 3 and episode 4 or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. A better paced show could have gotten episode 5 better. I also feel like Carrie-Anne Moss should not have been killed in the first 4 minutes. I feel like we should have spent a little bit of time with her character so we actually kind of care that her character died. I know like the story's kind of gotten away from her a little bit. She's not as big of a thing as I feel like initially it seemed like she was going to be. But I don't know if a certain character's death is going to be a big part of your show. Like, let us get to know him for more than a couple of minutes. I did like her death though. The fact that she stopped the one dagger with the Force, so she took another one. That's how a Jedi would go out. That was sick. So, it's a very uneven show for me. extreme peaks and valleys, with the peakest of the peaks being episode 5. I also really like now that we were kind of seeing him do his Sithy things, I like Darth Kimmer, or whatever his name is. I think the actor is dope. I want to see him do more stuff, and I think the character is nice, has a kind of interesting philosophy about just wanting to be free. I don't know. I'm digging it. It took way too long to get here, but it's not as bad as people are saying it is. It really isn't.
Great. Same question.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think
All
it
yours.
is a very. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think it is a very uneven show. I'm pretty much parroting everything that Lindsay just said. Yeah, it feels like this is not the right medium for this show. But yeah, I couldn't agree more with the Carrie Ann Moss thing. Like, do you have to kill her in the first couple of minutes? Make that the end of the first episode. Kind of establish that there is somebody going after this. You could even have it being told a slightly different way. You can kind of Pulp Fiction it. They're doing the investigation. They're trying to figure out what happened. And then the end of it is her getting taken out. I still think something like that would work a little bit more. But man, I think this show is getting so much criticism that's not necessarily in the best spirit. It definitely feels like this is getting hate that is not really deserved, in my opinion. Especially one of them that I just keep seeing is just like, do you know who Leslie Headland used to work for? And it's like, I don't know, man. I can't get over that one. Like,
half of Hollywood did.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think it should rest and fall on its own. The proof is in the taste thing. Like, actually watch it, and if you hate it, cool. Explain what it is. You don't have to just villainize the whole thing because somebody worked for somebody else 20 years ago.
Right.
I don't know. There's some really interesting ideas that are brought to, I guess, canon right now for the first time, which is really interesting. And supposedly we're going to get a huge character in this final episode tomorrow. That being
I had
said,
$1 for every time you said supposedly in this next episode, I'd be rich.
Yeah. What can I say? I'm well too tuned into it. I watched like 50 reviews of episode 5. Just, man, you'd think that this was this huge turn, and just somehow now Star Wars is OnlyFans content. If you watched my Twitter feed, which I get it. Manny Jacinto, he's hot. They're showing him topless, but man, this is not the first time.
Talking about Maxxxine, man. We all got to be okay with being a little horny every now and again. There's nothing wong with a dude having his shirt off. I mean, that dude's got nice abs. Just to say, bro's got nice abs.
But to what you're talking about, their big complaints at that time was that, oh, this is a family show. And that was the episode after a bunch of Jedi just got murked.
Brutally murked.
And that's the highest rated episode. That's episode 5. That had that.
You're right. So episode 6, it only got a 5.0, but man, did it introduce America and the world to Manny Jacinto? And the better we are for it.
So has he done a lot of other things, or is he kind of a new guy?
He was Jason Mendoza in The Good Place. He was in the most recent Top Gun movie. He's done a few things.
Hey, he's been all right. He's working.
Usually plays kind of a himbo character. This is the most that I've seen them give him as far as range. And I think he's my favorite part of this show.
It's like you kind of talked about, Gray, with the quality being the tasting. I think a lot of the issues people have taken with the Acolyte don't really represent something that I could wrap my head around as far as what is the issue with the show. Tell me what it is in the show that you have a problem with, and don't tell me because this person worked on this show and because I have a moral stance against this thing. And it's like, okay, if that's the case, you shouldn't watch the show. It's not for kids. I think if you want to argue that it's supposed to be for kids, okay, I agree. It shouldn't be for kids. But if it took you until a topless Manny Jacinto, I'm really dying to know what you were understanding up until that point. And the things that are coming into the discussion are not like tangible things that are an issue with the show itself. I agree. Episode 7 really, I mean, we said this for a little while now. It's kind of a risk. They're doing some unique things that have potential. And granted, who knows what episode 8 is going to be. But
DeLorean.
It's going to turn it all around. It's going to be perfect.
I don't have that kind of hope. But at the
Every
same
loose
time,
end will be wrapped up.
I do agree that this style of storytelling, I mean, I'd love to be proven wrong, but I just don't think it works in the week to week format.
Well, just out of curiosity, does it continue because episode 3 kind of gave me like, oh, is this going to do like a Rashomon thing? Do
Yes.
they the episode say it does more Rashomon stuff?
Yes, it
They
goes back
try to
into
do that.
Tries to do Rashomon things.
The criticism is episode 7 is about 80% of episode 3. Like a lot of it is the same footage. I don't know.
Oh, really?
I think they did better than that, but man, there's so much that you kind of sacrifice as far as like character development or motivation when you're trying to do this like hidden thing, and I don't think the payoff was there, but we'll see. There's one episode left. Maybe they'll turn it all around.
That's why episode 3 should have been like hybrided with episode 4 or something like that. So, we still get these flashbacks, but, there's also other things going on. Sorry. I'm just an editor and he's going off again. Episode 5 didn't need to be episode 5. Also, first season of Picard didn't need to wait till episode 4 to actually get into space and start the adventure. They could have done it in episode 3 if they actually did their jobs right.
Very good point, Rosales. And we'll kind of go back to The Boys and their beautiful juxtaposed scores.
God damn, those numbers are lovely.
I have not. I thought I was caught up until season 4. I was wrong. I need to rewatch or watch season 3. So I've been kind of waiting to put it all together. And I didn't think there was an issue with the show being political, because I would have said that that's something right there in the recipe.
Mm-hmm.
But
just wait till season 5, man.
Again with this don't wait shit. Just wait till you see this. So Gray, I'll start with you. What would you say The Boys has done in regards to these scores? Is it warranted?
I think so. The performance is mainly what it is. Like, I don't know, Anthony Starr, Homelander. I think it's the episode that's highest. I think that one's 4, but maybe I'm wrong. I think that's the one that kind of gives his backstory, and it kind of, you don't necessarily understand why he's doing it, but you can see how someone like that would be built. There is some really cool stuff that they're doing this season. There is a bit of a mystery thing going on too, and they do also have kind of a big reveal. I think that was done really well. I kind of thought there was going to be a secondary reveal. I was totally wrong about that. But it appears that this is working on multiple kind of levels, and they are kind of tying it all together. But yeah, I could see how a lot of people are really turned off if they're thinking it's super political. I again think some of this criticism's overblown. Like, I hear that they're only making fun of the right wing and not going after the left at all. But I can't see that. The Starlighters aren't exactly shown in the best light. She's not exactly shown to be like a great hero. And then Vought, not only is it Fox, but it's also Disney. Like, they have the I think it's V56 convention, which is supposed to be like the D23 convention, where they then show all these movies that are slated to come out in all the different phases. They mock the hell out of this show, this network, this everything. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of shows how hand in hand this big business is with government. But it is all kind of going towards this big election. And there is talk of possibly taking a candidate out. So I do kind of wonder how it's going to get to next season. So we'll see. Things might get toned down a bit due to recent events. But yeah, it does kind of all culminate in trying to get the election kind of secured on January 6th. So I can definitely see why people would be kind of making parallels to reality with that, and saying that they're going after their side a bit hard. This last episode, I think it did do it in kind of a ham-fisted way, where it's kind of a see something, say something. Sesame Street, I think they call it Avenue V in there.
Something, say something.
Yeah. So it's a little intense for me, a little ham-fisted, but honestly, that's the only thing that I thought was like a bit over the top this season. Other than that, I get where they're going, and I feel like every side is getting really bashed in this, but yeah.
Well, Victoria Newman is
this isn't
AOC,
the show for you.
Sorry.
Yes, she's supposed to be, but now
okay,
she's getting in bed with Trump, so to speak, in the show. So we'll see. But yes, she is supposed to be that person, but she has behind closed doors meetings with other people, so it's hard to say.
It's based on something doesn't mean it needs to stay there in a lot of ways. How do I want to say this? It's allowed to evolve and to be something else. AOC may have been like the progenitus of the character. I don't think I used the right word there, but it sounded smart, so I'm going to roll with it. But the character's then allowed to evolve to be more than just a one-for-one metaphor of AOC. Like maybe there's something specific about AOC that they're trying to say with this character that politicians like AOC, like in general, where politicians that present as one thing, but then kind of behind the scenes they're against all the things they're presenting against. Just because it's definitely a shot at AOC and certain aspects of the Liberal Party, but it doesn't also need to only be an AOC thing. How many times did I say AOC in that sentence there?
Quite a bit. Yes, I realized that talking about the boys and what was scheduled to happen to close that season out, I understand, and we're not trying to. It's my mistake. We're not trying to discuss any of the recent events. This is fiction stuff. We're just talking about money in movies and TV shows. Sometimes they mirror things that are happening, but
no, we're not talking about the Cybertruck today.
I think that's what a lot of people are taking issue is they see things in this show that are kind of mirroring reality, and I have a feeling there's going to be more before the end of it with what is building in here.
It's also unfortunate that people can't watch satire these days. Or I mean, maybe that's always the thing with satire. I shouldn't say these days no one can satire. It seems these days that no one can watch satire and just just look at it and be like, wait, this is weird. Maybe these things that I'm seeing on this show are bad, but instead of taking the moment for the self-reflection, they just get offended. And I say that as probably the most bleeding heart liberal guy here, so getting offended about things that happens, but I don't know, sometimes things are meant to be a mirror, and you look at the mirror and you're like, do you like what you see or do you not like what you see? You're not supposed to always like what you see when you look into that kind of proverbial mirror,
Yes. And I really should have avoided bringing up the boys this week. I didn't think, and I forgot about. See, this is why me not being caught up sucks, because I didn't know about the election angle. So bad job.
Yeah.
Pivot. So I actually got a warning that we need to cut this off relatively soon. One of the
I thought you meant from YouTube. I'm like, whoa, did we get too political?
No.
Get shut down?
They also thought we were veering too close to reality.
No, I'm on a free trial of this thing, and apparently you can only stream for a certain amount of time with it. So,
okay.
Let us know down below if you're watching this in the future. How did the process feel to you? Please understand that Gray had a connection issue. That wasn't the app so much, I don't think. So
I think it's me.
Otherwise,
let's be honest. I kept saying things that pissed him off, so he had to go off camera for a second, scream into the void, and then come back. So
I do think, as far as being on the production end of things, just being able to do things like this, if I need to.
That's such a clean,
slide over. And if I need to touch myself, it's go ahead. There goes. Lindsay's on.
Oh God, I need to stop touching myself.
It's a bit more fluid, but I mean, you guys would probably notice way more than I would. But comment down below. Let
did
us
see
know
in the
what you thought.
comments you got an Ang Lee comparison.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
So, not bad.
What?
Yeah, those transitions, man.
The
It's like Ang Lee's
Hulk,
Hulk.
the sliding around and like all that, like Also the bisexual lighting.
Those are my colors, and gray's
No,
just
not just you. Like these little like square things that we have like on our faces. Like, can the audience see that, or do we just see those?
I don't know. Like that's another thing. Tell us.
The audience sees all.
The audience sees all.
And I think, I mean, at the very least, even if we're restricted to a certain amount of stream time, I do prefer this over our previous platform of choice. It does feel a bit more fluid, a bit more pretty, and a bit more easy to put things on. Yes, they do see the
Okay, they just see the from Dice confirmed bisexual lighting. Love you, Dice.
Yeah. So it again, we'll be back on the other side of these seasons. I don't think I didn't think before I brought up the topics, but maybe the boys might delay or something if their subject matter is a little too close to real life issues. But I would imagine the Acolyte doesn't, and it'll get the attention anyway. So
how crazy would that be if the last episode of the Acolyte is suddenly just an assassination? Oh, sorry. I said the word. I shouldn't have said the word.
Not making money anyway. To hell with it. So, Lindsay, what do you got coming up?
A couple of different things. I guess there's no real reason to beat around the bush. I just lost my job, so I have a lot more free time than I used to. So maybe I'll try and squeeze some videos out. I'm still trying to get that one about AI going on, so that should be fun. And then at some point in early August, with a couple of friends, I'm going to be talking about Star Trek Picard. And I cannot wait, because there are a few things in life that I hate as much as Star Trek Picard. So stay tuned. There'll be information coming soon.
Ooh. Gray, what do you got?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm making a couple videos. I again went through like 50 reviews on any sort of I guess review really of the Acolyte, specifically episode 6 and how it's not Star Wars. So I wanted to deep dive kind of into that and explain why I do see that it is Star Wars and this isn't out of the normal, out of what George set forth in Star Wars. And it really does seem to fit with what he's doing. However, when I was doing that, I kept coming across the same accusation that, you know who Leslie Headland used to work for. So yeah, I'm actually making a video on that too. And I ended up going down a weird rabbit hole with that and seeing that, you know, at any given time, there were 3 to 4 personal assistants. This was 21 years ago. There isn't a lot of merit to this claim. And the fact that there have been people actually named who knew something and had some sort of involvement, and she has never been anywhere around it. But it sounds like she's signed so many NDAs, she literally cannot talk about it. So I just wanted to give kind of a counter to this thing that's just filling my time frame, my timeline, I should say. But yeah, those should be dropping sometime soon. But yeah, if you want to see me and Charles, you can always check out That Darn Kidda's channel every Thursday for the Thinkers. That's about all I got going on. What about you, Charles? What do you have going on your side of the internet?
Awesome, Gray. We're already here, but thank you for the segue. You guys will know, somebody has asked a couple of times, you will know, like, if I have lighting on this side of my face, things will have gotten better. I've already sent paperwork. I had to apply and claim things from the airport, and they're going to check it and then tell me how much of my 100% they're going to give me, or how much of $1 they will replace. And I was smart. I put $2, not 1. So it's going to be a process. I remember the last time from England, it took a couple of months, and I was told it might take as much as 12 months here. So it's been a bizarre period. I realized that I've been kind of spotty on the internet, this show included. But things just aren't cooperating. The world is kind of crap right now, to be completely frank with you. Folks on Patreon have access to the list from the Amazon wish list or whatever. Uh, we're still a light and a lens short, but I'm not.
Story of
I'm
my
not
life, a
asking.
life and a lens short. You know,
I'm not asking, but if you have interest in throwing into the kitty, not that darn kitty, but uh, there's a PayPal link down below, and just in the subject line, if you want a shout out or something, let me know. I'm not asking. It's people ask me, so I'm just kind of regurgitating it out there. Um,
was that
but
a that darn cat reference, by the way? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt again.
It was, but it's its own thing.
That was amazing. I don't know the last time I heard about that. Go ahead, sir.
that darn kidda, yeah, yeah. So it's been rough, and it's just a rough period for me, and I realize that it's not exactly easy to balance your clock to any of this scheduling, and I'm trying to do better, but um, the internet and the YouTube world is not at the top of my priorities right now. But hopefully, some things will start working out. And I'm not saying it's exclusively like money situations. My wife is 4,000 miles away. That sucks. Being used to the whole long distance thing, it hurts a little bit more since we've been together for so long. Uh, I mean, time together in a row, and this is the longest we were together since she's moved, and now it's not even 2 months yet, and it's brutal. But that's a me problem. That's not a you problem. Now we're gonna see, because there is nothing to. This is an issue because there's nothing to show you as we go bye. But again, if you thought this was at least a better experience visually or anything, uh, let us know down below. Much appreciated. I'm thinking we're going to use this at least once more, and yeah, this is going to be a hard cut. So for Lindsay of My Two Cents of Nonsense and Gray of Gray Poupe, thank you all for joining us on Show Business. We'll see you next time.